Welcome to the Christian Romance Podcast, where we go behind the books with inspiring Christian romance authors, exploring faith, love, and the journey that brings the story to life. I'm your host, Kelly Jo Wilson, and today we're chatting with Laura Conaway. Laura is a best-selling and award-winning author who writes faith-filled romantic suspense with heart-pounding twists and heartwarming endings. A former librarian and mystery lover at heart, Laura now writes stories where her characters discover triumph through trials. When she's not writing or playing guitar, you'll find her chasing the next great read or eating sweet potato fries. Be sure to stay tuned to the end of the episode so you can hear more about our newest book giveaway. Now, here's my conversation with Laura. Hi, Laura. Thank you so much for being here on the Christian Romance Podcast today. I'm so excited to hear about you, about your story, and about your amazing books.
Thank you so much, Kelly. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited. And like you just said, please let us have some fun tonight,
Yes.
like in our prayer. And you know what? Let me just tell you, I feel like it is going to be fun. I was looking at your website and I was looking through your about page and all of this. And I'm like, she lives in Pennsylvania, just like me.
Yes.
We are going to be besties with her little fun facts, which I absolutely adore. I love Belle as well. I love how feisty she is,
Yes.
even though she's not really seen as feisty. That's like my favorite part of her.
Very true. Yeah, I know. She is a special princess. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But why don't we just start by you just telling the listeners just a little more about you and about your writing journey and how you kind of got on this writing journey and maybe what your faith journey looked like within that.
Yeah, I have loved writing since I was a little kid. Like before I could even just hold a pen, I was just like creating stories and just thinking about all these different ideas of how to weave words together and make a thriller and just invite people into just an exciting adventure. And before I even started writing, my one friend in elementary school and we would act out different plays and different stories. And from there, I was like, all right, we got to write some scripts and we got to like put some words to this and create our own stories. And so I've just loved creating just adventures from a young age. And then in college, I had the privilege to pursue an education and professional writing degree. And one of my classes kind of forced me into writing my first novel and never thought that would actually happen. And then I was like, all right, it's a homework assignment. So I guess I have to do it now, to pass the class. And so after I wrote that novel, it gave me the confidence to feel like I had the ability to write and could pursue publication. And so Sunrise Publishing was looking for authors. And for readers who don't know Sunrise, they are a mentorship program, which is amazing, headed up by the wonderful Susie May Warren, as we were both fangirling about her.
I know. Just love her.
She's so great. And so they pair well-known authors with aspiring authors and really help them launch their careers and help them grow as writers, which is phenomenal. And so I submitted to a blind audition and they loved the story idea and they decided to contract it. And that was kind of the launching pad for my first book. And now we're here on my third and fourth book getting ready to come
Oh,
out.
that is so exciting. Congratulations, because my goodness. And with your first book, so the book that you pitched, was it your novel that you wrote?
It was not. So actually, my first
okay.
novel I wrote was a contemporary romance. And then I realized that I could not sustain that because I needed the suspense in the story to keep the action going. So I commend you as a contemporary romance author because that is not me.
You are so funny, but you know what? I love that. I love that you like found your niche and you're like, I need the action, which is so true. And the action, to be honest, I love the suspense. I'm in, like I told you, I'm in the middle of one of Susie's books right now, and it's obvious, it's very good. And I have interviewed so many wonderful authors like yourself that the stories sound amazing. But I have to say, I do get a little like, oh my gosh, no, it can't happen. Like too much. Like, you can't tell me that this is going to happen to this kid. Like, if somebody dies, I'm too like, I don't know.
You're compassionate, which is a great characteristic. Yes. Clearly, I'm not, because I'm like, all right, if this person dies, well, we'll cry for a little bit.
Oh my gosh, I love it. You are so funny. You're compassionate, but no, it's good to be like that. It's good to be like that and write in the stories and not be into like, Crazy. I get so into it. I can't do it. It has to be like sweet and
Mhm.
and that's it. And anything crazy, I'm just like freaking out. Um, but yeah, so that's exciting. So do you still have it, or is it in the drawer?
It is. It's in the drawer. I've thought about revamping it to make it a suspense story, and so maybe it will come
Yeah.
out of the vault at some point. We just gotta find the right home.
Oh, I love it. I love that you kept it. Some authors just throw it away like, no, no, no. But oh, that is so fun. That sounds like an amazing class if they're like, write a story and
Mhm.
then you're gonna get graded on it.
Yeah,
Like this is your whole assignment. That is so awesome.
yeah.
That is so cool. What about your friend who was writing with you? What did she or he end up doing? Are they writing as well?
They are not writing, no, but she is a dancer and is phenomenal in that
Oh,
artistic form, and so that is not a gift I have, but it's been awesome to just see her flourish in that.
oh, that is so fun. I love that you're like writing, like saying we need a script. Like
Yeah.
I can totally just see that happen, especially like whenever you're young and you want to like make the show. I just think that sounds so fun. So why don't you talk a little bit about so you started with suspense because you love the suspense. Now, how do you search for the themes of your books? Do you kind of
Mm.
have an idea before you start writing them, or does God kind of throw a wrench into everything as soon as you start writing? Or how does that go for you? How does that work?
Yeah, so I always have thoughts just, like, flooding my brain. I feel like I can never shut it off, and you're, like, waking up in the middle of the night, and you're like, "This would be a great story idea." But it's really cool because the Lord really does just bring to mind different themes, different topics or ideas, to write about. And so very much I will have an idea, and then the Lord will just steer me and say, "Actually, I want you to write this." And usually that looks like through a conversation that I've had with a friend or a mentor or a scripture passage that I've been meditating on or I've heard repeated a lot, that God has been teaching me in that season. And from there, I say, you know what? This is something that I need the encouragement in. And so that means that someone else needs the encouragement in that. And
Mm.
so that's how the stories are birthed, then, is just meditating on that scripture or that conversation and allowing God to use that to guide the story.
I love that. And he really does. I mean, we were just chatting a little bit beforehand. He really, really does. Because, especially, if there's like a certain lesson that he's trying to teach in you, it's so transformative anyway, just personally. But it's funny. Tell me if this happens to you. Like, when you feel like he's pressing something on your heart, but it's not necessarily for you, but it's for your
Mm.
character. Like,
Hmm.
it's so, isn't, does that happen to you as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And I think, this is what this character needs in this moment. And I don't even realize that they need it. And then all of a sudden it just kind of, the characters just show me, okay, this is what I need to learn or this is what I need to do. I'm like, all right, we're going to go on this journey together.
It's so amazing and it's so crazy to me. And I love so much that we get to chat about this right now because I feel like people in our daily lives just won't get it. Even though
Yeah.
I have to say, my husband is super supportive and he lets me talk about my characters at any time that I want.
Yes.
He is so good and helpful with the guy parts too, because
Oh,
he's a
absolutely.
guy,
Yeah.
so he's like, no, he wouldn't say that. He wouldn't say that because it's so funny. It's how he works. It's like, no, this character is this person. They become like real people,
They do. Yeah.
especially doing research and things like that, like getting in their head.
Absolutely. I had a sweet friend who gave me a mug for Christmas that said, "It might look like I'm listening to you, but I'm actually writing my novel." And it's so great to just have those friends and family in your life that you can talk to about the characters and they don't see you as crazy.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That is just like supporting it.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving dinner and you're like talking about your characters like they're real people, like, and
Exactly.
they're just like, "Oh, yeah, no, yeah, I get it. We'll
Yeah.
read about it in a little bit,
Yeah.
once the book comes out." Oh, that's funny. So, with the suspense, so why don't you just tell us about some of your book? Because I know I really want to spend a lot of time on Rescue Duty
Mm.
because I know this is the new book coming out. How is it? So, this book, or Waiting for Sunrise, you're paired with an author. So, what is that like to collaborate on your ideas? Like, can you talk about that just a little bit? I'm just curious at how your process and like the creativity, because I know how amazing they are over there at
Yeah.
Sunrise. But what does that look like?
Yeah, they are phenomenal, as you said. And so, even from my first book, they were just so supportive of wanting to
Hmm.
help you take the idea that you had and make it a reality. And so I loved that. And so with my first book with them, Expired Vows, we got to get together with Lisa, who is my mentor and the author that I'm writing under. And I came up with an idea, and then they helped me flesh that out for that story. And then I went back and spent time writing it. And then Lisa was phenomenal with editing it and being like, this is great, but let's make this even stronger. Uh, all those lovely red marks that you get in the edits. And then when it came to the second book, Rescue Duty, Lisa gave me more of the reins and said, hey, like, I trust you with this. Like, I trust you with my characters and my story world that I've created, that I want you to just take this and run with the idea that God has given you, which is such a blessing to see the support and the encouragement in that, and that like I trust you enough to love these characters and care for readers who also love these characters. And so I got to write all of Rescue Duty, and then she helped me edit it to make it even better, which was, yeah, just a great experience.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing. I was curious about that because sometimes, like some because co-authoring looks a little bit different for I guess depending on what the project is.
It does.
Um, but with that, I love that. That really does sound like they give you a lot of the freedom to just branch out and just to follow the story. And the fact that she's editing too is so helpful because you're taking that feedback and able to apply it and your next books,
Yeah,
I mean, that's just
absolutely.
wonderful. Oh, that's just, oh my gosh, I just love them.
Yeah, yeah, they are amazing. Can't say enough good things.
I know. That's wonderful. That is so wonderful. Well, I really want to hear about Rescue Duty because it's fire and rescue and it's super awesome. And I'm sure that there's a ton of suspense. Oh my gosh, that I will probably be sitting on the edge of my seat. And I'm not sure if I can handle it, Laura, but tell us about it. No spoilers.
Yes. Okay. So Rescue Duty is about two beloved characters, Zach Stevens, who is a fire and rescue squad member, and Naya McKell, who is an investigative reporter. And Naya finds herself back in Last Chance County, and she is investigating a water contamination crisis to try to secure her spot at the Tribune, where she is working as the head reporter. What she doesn't realize is that someone is purposefully hurting the people of Last Chance County by contaminating the water and wanting to thwart this plan. And so she finds herself in this stumbling upon this mystery that she has to solve. And the killer clearly does not want her discovering that. And so Zach steps in to help her. And both of them have a past as foster kids who grew up
Oh,
together. And so they have places where they just need to reconcile, and they have tension. And so Naya and Zach do not want to be working together. But this killer is forcing them to come together in order to save lives. And what Zach doesn't realize is that this water contamination crisis is actually part of a bigger situation of a cold case that he finds himself investigating as well. And so it's fun to just
mm.
see all these different threads coming together that lead and culminate up to both of them needing to work to save the town.
Oh yeah, that does sound very interesting. Them being foster kids, how did you I'm just curious if what that research kind of looked like.
Mm, yeah,
Cuz that's
so
hard. That's like a different kind of just tough,
it is.
backstory because no matter what, I feel like foster even in the most wonderful foster homes, foster kids have a history,
Yeah.
they have a difficult thing that they got to overcome. So what was that like learning about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And so I had the privilege of getting to witness some families in my local church who were fostering and adopting kids. And so
Ah,
seeing just that experience firsthand was really helpful from the research perspective. And then also getting to talk with a friend who was a foster mom for several years, I think probably over 5 years. And it was really interesting because she shared how the experience is not the same for everyone, and each state is so different. And so
oh
that made
yeah.
the research really difficult because I could be writing from one perspective, but someone else in another state could be experiencing something totally different, just because
Mm.
of legalities and different protocol that is in place. But the sweetest part about the research was I stumbled upon this blog that was for adoptees, and it was talking about this Chinese proverb. And in this proverb, it talks about how there is this invisible red thread that connects people who are destined to meet. And so
Mm.
this part of the story sparked the greater spiritual theme in seeing how we can be part of a greater family in Christ because of his blood, his red crimson blood that brings us together from people from every tribe, nation, language, and tongue into the family of God. And so the Lord really steered this story in that direction. And I was not expecting that initially. And I was like, all right, Lord, this is where we're taking it. And just trusting that readers will be encouraged by it.
Oh, that is just beautiful. What a wonderful, like, picture, right? Because it's so true.
It
It
is.
really is so true. It's so funny that it's a Chinese proverb and it's talking about a red thread, and
I
then
know.
you have Jesus, like it's
Yeah,
such a Christian thing,
it
right? Because
is.
his blood covers all of this and in him. And even in the Bible, it says multiple times about adoption, how we're
Yeah.
adopted into his kingdom through him. And oh, that is just gorgeous. I love that. Oh, you're gonna have to send me that blog.
Yes, absolutely.
A link to the blog.
Yeah.
I just always get so moved about foster kids, because I feel like a lot of times they just end up being in this situation that they just had zero control over. And now they have to face this whole different life. And there's a really nice charity and I forget what it's called. I will figure it out though and put it in the show notes. So anybody wants to check it out. But it's there was a guy who was a foster kid who grew up and wanted to just give back. And, foster kids sometimes carry their stuff in garbage bags.
Mm,
So, or they'll be called like garbage bag kids or something like that, which is just terrible to think about,
it's
right?
awful to know
Like,
that they're walking that road.
oh, I know. Like everything that they have first is in a bag.
Yes.
It is not like in a permanent place, but also in a garbage bag. So what he did was he has this ministry or this mission really
Mm,
to get backpacks for all of these for foster kids. So it's like you can donate and you can just donate money to give foster kids backpacks. I think it's
that's
just a
awesome.
simple thing and it's just beautiful.
It's the simple gestures that just show that you're seen and that you're cared for.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You said Naya or Naya
Naya.
is her name?
Hmm.
Oh, I think that's such
Yeah.
a pretty name.
Yes, it was fun because she is actually Haitian, and so I got to explore
Oh,
even just the cultural aspect of her home country and just, yeah, how she grew up, which was really cool.
oh, that is really cool. And then it's kind of a little bit of Aaron Brockovich vibes, I feel
Yes.
like,
Mhm.
with the water. And then she's trying to do an awesome thing, but then like somebody's really trying to sabotage. Like
Yeah,
she uncovers it, right? Like
absolutely.
she's
Yeah.
just trying to get a good story and
Exactly.
they have to get together. Oh my gosh. So of course this is the Christian romance podcast, right?
Yes.
So I love to hear about the how they and not spoilers, but kind of the
Yeah.
tropes of how they get together. So I would say definitely sounds like forced proximity.
Yes.
With suspense, I feel like it's tough because like friends to lovers, for example, or friends to more
Mhm.
is such a slow burn usually. So really with suspense, it's like harder to do that. So what would you say the kind of tropes with the romance are in
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, forced proximity for sure, second chances, and I would say, like, the big brother, friends to lovers, kind of both ands, where when they grew up in foster care, Zach very much felt like he was Naya's big brother and needing to protect her, and then realized, oh, as they got older, this is actually, developing into, like, I love her, and, like, I want to see her as more than just my sister, but yeah, like, as a friend
Oh,
and, yeah, which was fun to explore, and I feel like it was that slow burn, of just over time, they both realized that they were developing feelings for each other.
so I didn't realize. Okay, so they were in foster care together.
They were in separate homes, but they were,
Oh,
like,
okay.
in the same neighborhood, so, like, they both grew up next door to each other.
Oh, okay. So they knew each other before. Oh, okay. Because let me
Mhm.
just tell you, I love Friends to Lovers. It's Slow Burn. I
Yes,
know it's
yeah,
tough in suspense
it
because,
is.
oh, that's even more interesting because in
Mhm.
suspense, everything's so fast, right? And they
Yes,
have to act
yes.
quick and they're like, chasing down you said the killer? I mean, this
Yeah,
is somebody
mhm,
that's like really, trying to kill people. So
yeah,
it's intense.
it is.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Girl, that sounds so good.
Yeah, thank you. It
It
was fun.
does.
It
It
was
sounds
it was
really
so fun to
fun.
write. It's
Yeah, it really sounds like that, and then especially if they already had that bond to start with, you can see how that kind of, like, is revisited once they're, like, older.
Yeah.
You know, they already have that, where their walls are broken down a little bit at least to
Yeah.
let the other in, because I feel like foster kids, but like you said, everybody has a different experience, right? Everybody
Mhm.
has a story that nobody knows about really, but I feel like with that foster care kind of bouncing around, develop a really tough skin. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I could totally see them kind of breaking down their walls for each other a little, at least a
Yeah,
little, and then just enough to get it going a little bit.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that sounds so awesome. One thing I wanted to mention too, which I love, and you can just explain a little bit more about it, but your tagline for
Mm.
your on your site is triumph through trials. What guided you to choose that as like your tagline?
Oh, yes, every time I get to share triumph through trials, I just love it because it has ministered to my heart so much that I just love to share so that readers are prayerfully also ministered to it,
Oh.
as well. And so as I started writing suspense and found my niche there, there's just a lot of hard things that the characters go through. I mean, you have bombs going off, and there's guns, and there's fighting, and there's just so many intense moments. And I remember when I finished writing my first book and was thinking about my second, I was like, where is the hope in this? Like, it's just,
Mm.
it could feel so heavy, it can feel so dark. And so I knew as a Christian author that I wanted to bring in that hope and weave that into the story so that readers weren't left with, oh, this was a great story, but man, these characters walked through a lot. And the aspect of these trials, in one regard, is what are the trials, what are the hardships that the characters are going through, but then by the end of the story, what is the triumph, where are the victories, where have they learned the truth of who God is, throughout their adventure and throughout their story. And then prayerfully, that carries over into readers getting to see what are the trials in my life that I'm walking through, and where can I find triumph through those, because of Christ and the victory that He provides. And so the verse that goes with that tagline, is in 1 Corinthians 15,
Mm.
56 and 57, which talks about how because of Jesus, we have the victory. And thanks be to God for that, because he has taken away death, and taken away the sting of sin. And there is true victory and triumph in him.
Oh my goodness, Laura, that is just so wonderful.
Mm.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And what a wonderful way to just put it, and that verse. That was going to be my next question. If there was a verse that really, tugged at your heartstrings, because I feel like, that verse is just so impactful because he really, I think we forget, or it's easy to forget anyway, in the daily grind of things, that
It is.
he's victorious, that there are so many hard things that happen, but he has already overcome the world. He's
Mm.
overcome every hard thing that we will ever deal with in our life. And there's so much hope in that. Like you said, there's so much triumph
Yeah.
in that. And it's just beautiful. I love, and you just said it so beautiful. And then
Oh,
leading into your verse, oh my goodness. I love it. I
yeah,
love it.
there is.
Thank
There's so
you.
much confidence that we have because of Jesus, which is, yeah, like you said, in the mundane, it's difficult. It can feel like, we're just trudging through and we got to fix our eyes, on what is not seen, rather than what we do see in front of us, because it can be hard.
Oh yeah, it can really be hard. And even spending time, like I usually try to spend time with God every day, because it's very, like, I'll do a little Bible study in the morning. I love Charles Stanley. I love
Yes.
the In Touch ministry, so I usually listen to that in the mornings. But it's weird because when I don't, cuz sometimes it's different timing or something, especially like family needs you, or you have other things that happen, work, or message will pop up or something. And you just feel so different whenever you don't have that like anchor, at least in the morning. I don't know. Is it like that for you if you don't have that like time, or
Mhm.
I don't know. For me, it's like it has to anchor me for the day, or else I just feel like I just unravel by the end of the day. Is it like
I
that?
agree 100%. Yes, I'm like, I need to focus my mind in the morning, or else I run through the day thinking that I can do it on my own strength. And it's like the Lord has to humble me then and remind me, okay, you can't do it by yourself, and you need to, yeah, you need to set those disciplines to just enjoy and delight in Him. And yeah, I find that so helpful in the mornings.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. It's so funny too because especially like maybe not even as like a newer Christian, but I feel like I was just talking to my sister about this the other day, and we were talking about certain things, and she was like, she was just unsure of how to truly surrender, right? Because we
Mm,
know that if we surrender the control up to God, if we surrender the control up to God, that he'll handle it, right? Like it's we can take comfort in him, we have the peace in him, and we know that it truly frees us of that anxiety, especially what that comes with it. And that's something that, is a struggle for a lot of people. And that's just kind of what I was talking about with her. It's funny, like once you're in such a difficult thing, like I said about like single mom or saying, and you're in a tough place and going through a tough thing, it's really hard to even think straight, So it's like
yeah,
you can't, gathering the prayers and stuff. So I feel like it's so good to have somebody in our lives that knows and can help us pray, and that's somebody that you can really talk to. So another Christian that also isn't judgy, but just understands, like, I know because I've gone through it too,
yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Have you seen that too? Have you experienced that
Mhm.
at all? Like where it's like, not having these people or just seeing somebody who doesn't, have somebody in their life, because it's hard to know. Some people have reached out to me, like even through, my email subscribers and different readers, and have said like, I don't know how to start. I just don't even know
Mm,
how to pray. Have you ever had
yeah.
that? Have you ever had any readers reach out to you or even just talk about some of those like tough things?
Yeah, yeah, I'm honestly humbled when readers reach out and just share those challenges and difficulties, because one, they're entrusting me to with that information, and then also it's such a privilege to just get to pray for them in that. And I try to remind myself, because it can be so easy to, in our culture, feel like there's this pressure to grow the newsletters or to grow the social media and just focus on the numbers,
Hmm.
when there's a person behind those numbers. And so just seeing when the readers reach out, getting to just like listen and hear what they're saying, and then just pray for them and say like, hey, like, you're not alone in this struggle. Like, there have been times I've walked through a lonely season, or felt like, man, like, how do I pray, how do I seek the Lord and surrender this? Even as you were sharing about your sister, like, I have been struggling with that. I can list so many times when I'm like, Lord, I want to hold this tightly. But yet, like, I know that you know what is good, and you will care for us. But yeah, it's hard.
Oh yeah, it's so hard. I mean, sometimes I literally, like, I was like telling her, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know what to," because we're sisters, right? Your sisters, you're just
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yep.
I'm like, "Girl, I'll just text you something." So I'm just like, it is like simple. It's like a simple prayer. Just say, "Hey, Lord, help me to surrender this to you, because it's hard for me
Hmm.
not to have control. Help me to surrender this control to you, because I know that I can't do it, and I need your help. I need you, Jesus. Please come here right now. Please help me. Please take this." And it's, as simple as that, but sometimes it's hard to know where to start.
It
Oh,
is.
I know. What you said about the readers too. Oh my gosh. I am so humbled as well. I feel the exact same way. Especially even when, it being a nurse and people entrust things to
Mhm.
you, nurses, you have such a barrier that's knocked down just because you're caring for somebody at a very difficult time in their life.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, the stories and the honor that I've had to be at people's bedsides, especially I used to care for pre and post lung transplant patients. And they were very ill, very, very ill, like just coming off of a ventilator, coming out to our floor, and then oftentimes having to go kind of back and forth between us and the ICU. And sometimes we had to keep patients there on hospice, inpatient hospice on the
Mm.
unit. And oh my gosh, I gotta tell you this story. One time there we had a patient who we cared for often. She had been a patient that was often on our unit. and her whole family was in the room, and I felt so honored. I usually, because as a nurse, you're like, you treat people how they want to be treated. You don't want to necessarily force any like faith on them, right? Because we get people
Sure.
from all different faith and culture and things like that. But I did just ask, when the whole family was in there, I said, would you like me to pray for you, to say a prayer? Very simple. Like, I used to ask
Yeah,
that
I
a
love
lot.
that.
Oh, let me just tell you, I don't know. I felt very honored to, but it was very, very heart-wrenching. Okay, so I'm saying a prayer with the family. A new aide was in there, and she was like helping me, and she was so sweet. And we're in there, we're praying, and the woman was, I was by her bedside, and they were like, they wanted to play a song. They played by, I forget the title, but it's like, I think it's I'll See You Again by Carrie Underwood.
Yes, yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're in there. So everybody's crying. Okay, I'm
Just
crying.
weeping at this point.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Like, nobody has a dry eye. Okay. I feel so bad because the aide is like bawling. She's like gripping my hand. I was like, it's
Yeah.
okay. So then of course I have to make a joke, like just to lighten the mood a little bit, only because it was okay in there. It was like, it was appropriate for the moment. I was like, oh geez, that Carrie Underwood gets you every time. And they were like laughing. And it was just so beautiful to be able to be like a part of that moment, because it's so special to them. So I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It's just wonderful whenever people share their heart and the difficult things, because we all have them.
It is, absolutely, yeah, and it's like we are meant to be in community, and so just, like, what a gift it is to do that, whether that's in a hospital room or even I love writing, the friends in my books
Hmm.
because it, like, shows the hero and heroine that you need other people, who can speak into your life and encourage you, and so, yeah, I love that story. Thanks for sharing that.
Oh, I know. It was so fun. So every time that I would hear that Carrie Underwood song, I would think of her and her family. And I'm
Yeah,
like, oh my gosh, it was so crazy, because it was bittersweet, right? Because it's very sad. And whenever we would have patients that were frequently we would care for, you really care for the patient. I mean, they become part of you and part of like our unit family too. So it was sad, but it was also really just remarkable to be part of that kind of moment.
yeah, that's
um
so special.
but just like, I feel like with books, with your stories, and you have somebody reaching out, they're so personal. Like, you can like you said about the with the triumph through trials, like when people are reading a fiction book, even with the Christian themes in there and verses in there, or whether it's overt or covert, no, whatever the message is, God really presses on their heart, and it's something that's very, very emotional, and it's very intimate, and it's just
Absolutely.
wonderful, to be
It
part
is.
of that.
Yeah. Yeah. We serve such a personal God who, like, you can write something and then it just impacts someone in a totally different way than you expected, but it's because God's working in it.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, 100%. Well, we were almost at time, Laura, but why don't you let us know? Thank you so much for that verse, too. That was just so encouraging. But why don't you let our listeners know where the best place they can connect with you, get on your email newsletter, and then also the best place that they can get a copy of Rescue Duty?
Yeah, so I love to connect with my readers as we just talked about. And so you can find me on my website at lauraconawayauthor.com. And most people forget my last name wrong, which is okay. It happens all the time, but it is Laura Conaway. So there's an A in there. So lauraconawayauthor.com. And if you sign up for my newsletter, you will also get a free short story that I wrote called Redeeming the Shadows. And so I'd love to connect with you on there. I'm also very active over on Instagram. And so my handle is Conaway_Laura. And you can get my books wherever books are sold. You can get it at the Sunrise Shop, on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Everything is linked on my website. And I look forward to connecting with everyone.
Oh, that is just wonderful. I will have all those links in the show notes. So anybody listening right now, you just scroll right to your app and just scroll down and look for the links, and they can click there right now. But thank you so much for being here, Laura. Thank you for sharing your heart. And I just love this. I think this book sounds amazing. I'm sure that you are going to have many readers reaching out to you. I just love what you do. I love your heart behind your stories. I saw on your site too, I wanted to say, which I thought was especially awesome. How you said that if this story only impacts one person, then it's worth it. And it's so true. And
It is.
I love it. And thank you so much for what you're doing and for your writing ministry. I just think it's wonderful.
Oh, thank you so much, Kelly. It's been a pleasure getting to chat. And yeah, I just appreciate you having me on.
If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to hit subscribe and tap the bell to get notified of new episodes. We love blessing our listeners with exclusive interviews and, of course, amazing books. Each month, we host a themed book giveaway where you can win a selection of Christian romance novels and a few extra goodies, too. This month's theme is Timeless Love. We're giving away 7 powerful Christian historical romances by best-selling and award-winning authors. From courageous women and sweeping adventures to heartfelt journeys of grief, redemption, and enduring faith, these stories will inspire and uplift you. Whether you're listening as the episode drops or catching up later, no worries. You'll always find the link to the most current giveaway on our website, ChristianRomancePodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening, and until next time, keep your faith, share the love, and happy reading.